Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Kemi, and I'm here to talk to you about Bravo's Love Hotel, Season 1, Episode 2. So, we're at the next day, and the ladies are doing their morning rituals. Ashley's with Wale, they're doing their whatever workouts that they do. I think it's yoga and some other stuff. And then Mark and Luann are doing yoga as well. So after they've done that, they go back into the house or the hotel, not the house, the hotel. And Mark tells everybody how Jerry went off on him for asking Luann on a yoga date the next day. And Luann is just, she's laughing it off or whatever. And you could tell Luann doesn't like neither one of these guys. So it is what it is. Jerry is sprung on Luann and she is not here for him. And he's gonna find out by the end of the episode. So, they all go get dressed and they come back to the foyer or whatever it's called. And I don't know his name. I don't know if he said his name since the show has begun, but the guy that's in charge, he lets the ladies know that they're going to go on group dates and they each have to ask a guy on a date. And whoever, all of them will ask a guy. And if a guy gets asked multiple times, then he's in charge of picking who he wants to go on a date with. So you have Shannon, she asked Ralph and Jay to go on her date. Luann asked Mark and Ralph. Giselle asked Phil and Ralph. Ashley asked Nick and Jerry. And then, so those are the guys that were picked. So Ralph gets to decide who he wants to go on the date with, and he decides to go with Giselle. So since Luann and Shannon, since he didn't pick neither one of them, they have to go on a date with the other guys. So Shannon goes ahead and picks Earl because she's already been on a date with him and she has a connection with him. And Luann picks Wale. So they all go on their group dates and it's at the hotel, like on the what is it called? They're not on the beach, but they're like close to the beach. So it's a fiesta of love where they're served Mexican cuisine and different, items and foods. And they all go into their little groups where they each get to talk to each other and get to know each other. Giselle and Ralph and Phil, they all hit it off. They have like their conversations were good. Like the conversations that they had, the questions that Giselle was asking them, the responses that they were given, they looked like they were all like engaged with each other. Luann, she wasn't interested in her dates. Like she doesn't see it from Mark because she sees Mark as somebody that she's already been with before. Like his demeanor and how he is, like she's dated guys like that before and he's not looking for something serious. I think she had asked him what he's looking for and he said to have fun, so she's just like, I'm good. And again, she's with Wale and she's not interested in him either. So she really like her and Mark talk for a little bit, and then she starts talking to Wale about Ashley, and she talks him into writing a note for Ashley. So Ashley's on her date with Jerry and Nicholas, and she initially asked Jerry because she wanted it to be a buffer, so she didn't have to ask Wale, because she feels like if she would have asked Wale on a date, then her and Nicholas wouldn't have got to know each other. So those three, Jerry, Nick, and Ashley, they're on their date and it's awkward. She asked them if they've ever dated a black girl before, and Nick doesn't want to answer. Jerry answers. He was just like, yeah, when I was in high school, I remember her name was Angel. And she was just like, oh, that's so cute. You remember? Like, she was like, oh. And then she asked Nick again, and Nick was just like, no, I've never dated a black girl. And Ashley was just like, but didn't you live in South Africa? And he was just like, yeah, but I've never dated a black girl. And I was just like, you lived in South? Okay. Okay. Shannon's dates are boring. Like, again, she already has that connection with Earl, so it's not like they're getting to know each other. And she only picked Jay because she wanted to talk Giselle up to Jay and get to know Jay so that she can push Jay towards Giselle because she really wants to talk to Ralph. So that's how the dates are. Earl gives us some more info on him. He talks about his first wife and how they never had kids, but his first wife had a kid. And so that was his stepson. And, he was like, he built a good little relationship with his stepson within that year. And when they got a divorce, like she took the kid and was just like, you can never see him again. And he had told the son that when you become of age, you can have my bike, like my motorcycle. And he's been waiting to give him the motorcycle since then. So the motorcycle's been sitting in his garage and he hasn't touched it since like he told the little boy that he would give it to him. So I was just like, oh, Earl is such a sweetheart. I really like him. I'm afraid of what's going to happen next week because the previews for next week don't look good for him. So I don't know what's going to happen, but we shall see. So, as the dates are commencing, everyone like they start to all mingle with each other. Jay goes to check on Giselle, just to see how she's doing, and Jill's just like, okay, he's over here checking on his woman, and all this other stuff, but she still doesn't feel the spark for him. It's just like, yeah, okay, like she doesn't see it for him, but she's gonna try. I guess I'm not really sure, but I guess. So we see Shannon and Earl, and they're walking through the hotel, and then they kiss like in front of everybody, but not in front of everybody. Nick and Ashley, they like go towards the side, just the two of them to talk because like he keeps saying he wants some one-on-one with her. Because while they were on their date, he was like talking to her and he was just like, yeah, you have this real strong connection with Wale. And as he's saying that, Wale comes up with a note for her. And he was just like, speak of the devil. And he's just like, man, he like, he gets pissed off or whatever because he's just like, I'm trying to get to know her, but I can't get to know her because you keep popping up and all this other stuff. So she was just like, okay, let's go to the side and we'll talk just the two of us. And so they're like on the side talking just the two of them. And he's not moving fast enough for Ashley. He's like lollygagging. He says he's interested, but he's not really like he's not showing effort that he's interested. So like they're talking um yeah, they talk about I forgot what they talked about, but like they were talking about what he does. Like so he was talking about how he does Bitcoin or something. And so they were talking about that and then she was asking what do you look for in a woman and he was just like a pretty smile and a fat ass. And I was just like Nick is trying too hard. I don't know for Nick. I don't know for him. He's like trying too hard to me. No. So, okay. So we go into the next day. Shannon, oh, sorry. Nick walks Ashley back to her room. And as he's walking her back to her room, like all the ladies come out because she's talking loud. And they all come out and they're like blocking him and whatever. And he was just like, oh man, I'm being blocked and all this other stuff. And I was just like, she don't see it for you anyway, but whatever. So he drops her off at the room, gives her a hug. The next day we go into it. The ladies, Shannon had bought all of them matching outfits. So they go to the beach and they're sitting on the beach and they're talking about like what they want like they talk the financial aspects of the guys, the relationships that they're looking for because they're all of course they're all real housewives, so they all have money and it's just like they're trying to see if any of these guys will be able to afford their lifestyles or whatever. And they're like saying we're not gold diggers, but we have money, we've made money, like what will these men contribute or whatever to this or whatever. So that's what they were talking about. They also talk about who they're like, who they're feeling and all of that. Ashley, I mean, not Ashley, but Giselle is like, she's feeling well, she doesn't really say who she's feeling, but she talks about Phil to Ashley when they're in their confessionals, and she's just basically saying how um Phil has like he was when she was getting to know Phil, he was talking about how he has two houses and he has a house manager, and she's just like, I'm trying to see if his house is big enough for a house manager, and I'm just like, girl, Giselle, you still gotta fix your house that you built, that you still building, or we don't know what's going on with that house, but tend to that first. So the guy again who's over this, I need to figure out his name. I am going to find out what his name is. I really don't know what this man's name is. Do they say what his name is? Uh, they do not say what his name is. I'm gonna figure it out. By the next episode, I'm gonna say his name. But that guy, he basically tells them that they're getting some new men. So the question I was asking last week, I wonder if there's new men that are gonna come in or if it's just gonna be the same 8 men. So we do get some new men next episode. But on this episode, he lets them know that we're gonna get some new guys coming in, but you do have to send some home. So they each get a key and they each have to pick a guy that they want to stay. So Shannon goes first and she talks about Mark and Jerry and how they're this and they're that. And she's just like, but Ralph is tall, so I'm going to pick Ralph. And she was just like, in her confessional, she was just like, yeah, Ralph is the one for me next. And so when she says, I'm going to pick Ralph, he's shocked and all the other ladies are shocked because it's just like, that just came out of left field. And I'm just like, Shannon is not Shannon, Luann. Did I say Luann? Yeah, Luann picks Ralph. Luann is the one who picked Ralph. And it was just like, that just came out of left field. Luann feels like she's just playing. I don't know if she's here, if she's being serious or not, but I told y'all I wasn't going to like Luann. I don't think I like her. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. It's something about her. It's just, but I digress. So she picks Ralph again. He's shocked. The other ladies are shocked. Giselle. Why do I call her G? Giselle picks Jay. Because she was just like, I was gonna pick Ralph, but since he's already picked, I'm just gonna go ahead and pick Jay. And he's just like, I don't know how I feel about that, but thanks. And again, it's just like, why would you say that, Giselle? You should have just said, I had to, just, I guess, Giselle. She ain't got no game. Like, she's just so, I see why she was with Pastor Jamal. But anyways, Shannon picks Earl, of course. And Ashley, she talks about Nick and how she wants to get to know him. And the night before, she had said, let's go on a pool date, but he stood her up. So she picks Wale because she was just like, you not basically, she's telling him you wasn't serious. Like, you had like, you keep saying you want to get to know me and you don't get to have no one-on-one time with me. And when I pick a time, when I'm saying, hey, let's meet in the morning at the pool so we can do some one-on-one time, you don't show up. So it's just like, I guess. So those are the guys that they pick. So Shannon picked Earl, Luann picked Ralph, Giselle picked Jay, and Ashley picked Wale. So they picked those 4 men, and then the host tells them, I have one extra key so you guys can pick another guy. So the girls go and they make their decision and they end up picking Phil. So Phil gets picked. And so in the confessional, Giselle says, I came in this saying that I wanted Phil, Ralph, and Jay to be here. And I got Phil, Ralph, and Jay. So my work is done, basically. She got the 3 men that she wanted to, try to get to know still in the house. So we see the other guys that didn't get picked, they say their goodbyes and their lead, and then we see the new men come in, and then we get the preview for the next episode. So that was the episode. It was a really pretty chill episode. These episodes actually go by really fast, like they're really fast. Stuff just is just happening, so it's not like nothing. It's only been 2 episodes, so I can't say there's a filler episode. Each episode is doing something, and it's going by real fast, so that's good. So We'll be back again next week. If you're new here, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you'll be notified whenever I drop any videos. And I hope to see you guys soon. Bye.